My beloved child. Don't skip, because what you are about to hear has remained hidden for far longer than you realize. This is not an ordinary moment, and it is not an ordinary message. Somewhere, a heart has been carrying a confession so powerful that even the people closest to that person never imagined it existed. They smiled while hiding it. They spoke while protecting it. They walked through ordinary days while guarding extraordinary feelings. But today, something has begun to change. The silence has become too heavy to carry. The truth is pressing harder than fear. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you, and every word you hear will connect to the next like pieces of a puzzle that has been waiting for this exact moment. What shocked everyone was not the confession itself, it was who the confession was about. Your soulmate reached a point where pretending became impossible. They could no longer convince themselves that hiding their heart was protecting anyone. Instead, they realized that every day without honesty felt like another day stolen from the future they secretly dreamed about. The words remained trapped for so long that when they finally escaped, even those listening struggled to believe what they had heard. There was one unexpected conversation that changed everything. It did not happen in front of a crowd. It happened quietly, in a place where nobody expected life-changing words to be spoken. At first, the room felt completely normal. Nothing seemed different. But then your soulmate looked into someone's eyes and admitted something they had never admitted before. They confessed that every plan they imagined for marriage somehow led back to one person. Not because life was perfect. Not because everything was easy. But because their heart refused to replace the image it had been protecting for so long. The room became silent. No one interrupted. No one laughed. No one knew what to say because they could hear honesty in every single word. Don't skip. This is where the story becomes impossible to ignore. Something huge is waiting for you. The people listening expected excuses, uncertainty, or hesitation. Instead, they witnessed complete sincerity. They realized this confession had not appeared overnight. It had been growing quietly through every missed opportunity, every remembered smile, every unexpected coincidence, and every moment when your soulmate secretly wondered whether destiny was bringing two paths closer together without either person noticing. That realization left everyone speechless because they understood they were listening to feelings that had survived every attempt to disappear. Now another secret begins to surface. Long before this confession happened, your soulmate made a private promise that nobody else knew about. They promised themselves they would never force what was not meant to happen, yet they also promised they would never stop believing in the connection they felt deep inside. Every time doubt appeared, something unexpected reminded them to keep hoping. Sometimes it was a memory. Sometimes it was a familiar feeling that arrived without warning. Sometimes it was simply the strange certainty that your story together was unfinished. Stay till the end because the biggest revelation has not arrived yet. The confession was only the beginning. After those unforgettable words were spoken, people began looking at your soulmate differently. They noticed a confidence that had never been there before. They noticed peace replacing confusion. They noticed someone who was no longer hiding behind fear. And then came the question that nobody expected to ask. If your heart has already chosen, what happens next? That single question changed the atmosphere completely because your soulmate did not answer immediately. Instead, they smiled in a way that made everyone realize another life-changing truth was still waiting to be revealed. That truth has the power to connect every hidden sign, every unanswered feeling, and every mysterious moment that brought this story closer to you today. Don't skip, because what happens next will leave even more people speechless. A quiet shift had already begun before anyone realized it. The confession had spread from one conversation to another, not because people wanted gossip, but because they had never witnessed such fearless honesty. Every person who heard those words repeated the same sentence. There was something different in their voice. It was not excitement. It was certainty. Your soulmate was no longer speaking about a distant dream. They were speaking as if their heart had finally stopped running away from its own truth. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. The next few moments reveal why this confession became unforgettable. Someone finally asked, "Why now? Why speak after staying silent for so long?" Your soulmate paused for a long moment before answering. Then came the words that froze everyone in place. Because I would rather risk being misunderstood than spend another day pretending these feelings never existed. No one interrupted. No one argued. Even those who usually had advice remained completely silent because they could feel that every word came from the deepest part of the heart. What happened after that surprised everyone even more. Instead of talking about fear, your soulmate started talking about hope. They admitted that every challenge had taught them patience instead of regret. Every delay had strengthened their belief instead of weakening it. They confessed that whenever they imagined their future, one face always appeared before everything else. It never disappeared, no matter how many distractions life created. Stay till the end. The biggest surprise is still hidden. The people listening suddenly began connecting forgotten moments from the past. They remembered the unusual smiles, the unexplained silence whenever your name was mentioned, the way your soulmate would quietly defend someone without revealing the real reason. Everything finally made sense. What had once looked like coincidence now looked like a trail of hidden signs leading toward one unforgettable confession. For the first time, nobody questioned those feelings because the truth had become impossible to ignore. Then came the final moment of the evening. Someone asked one last question that nobody else had the courage to ask. If the opportunity arrived today, would you still choose the same person without hesitation? The room became completely silent again. Your soulmate looked down for a moment, took a slow breath, and answered with complete confidence, "Yes." Without changing a single part of my decision. The atmosphere changed instantly. Several people exchanged shocked glances because they realized this was not an emotional impulse. This was a decision that had quietly grown stronger with time. Don't skip. Something even bigger is waiting for you. But the story is far from over. After everyone believed the confession had ended, your soulmate revealed that one final surprise remained hidden. A truth so unexpected that it would completely change how people understood this entire journey. The moment that truth is revealed, nothing will ever feel the same again. The room thought the story had reached its ending, but the most unforgettable moment had not even begun. A deep silence settled over everyone, as though time itself had paused to hear what would come next. Your soulmate slowly lifted their head and said there was one truth they had never shared with anyone. The people around them leaned closer, sensing that something extraordinary was about to be revealed. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. They admitted that this journey was never about finding the perfect person. It was about recognizing the one soul that never truly left their heart, no matter how much time passed or how many unexpected turns life created. They confessed that every important decision somehow reminded them of the future they secretly wished to build. Every achievement felt incomplete because there was always one missing piece they could never replace. The listeners expected the confession to end there, but instead, your soulmate revealed something that made every face in the room change. They quietly explained that there had been countless opportunities to walk away from those feelings forever. New beginnings appeared. Different paths opened. People encouraged them to forget everything and move on. Yet every single time they tried, something unexpected happened. A familiar memory returned. A meaningful coincidence appeared at exactly the right moment. A strange sense of peace reminded them not to abandon what their heart already knew. Stay till the end because the biggest realization is still ahead. Everyone listening finally understood that this was not a passing emotion. It had survived uncertainty, distance, and time itself. That realization left people completely speechless because very few hearts remain that faithful when life becomes unpredictable. Then one final question echoed through the room. If your path crosses with that person again, what will you say first? Your soulmate smiled gently, not with nervousness, but with complete calm. After a long pause, they answered, I won't begin with promises. I will begin with honesty, because honesty is what brought me this far. Those words carried a weight that nobody could ignore. Several people lowered their eyes, reflecting on choices they had never been brave enough to make. Others simply sat in silence, realizing they had witnessed something they would remember for years. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. But this confession was still hiding one final chapter, a chapter no one in that room saw coming. The next truth would reveal why this entire journey unfolded exactly the way it did, and why the most life-changing moment was still waiting just beyond the horizon. The silence that followed felt different from anything anyone had experienced before. It was no longer the silence of uncertainty, it was the silence that comes after hearing a truth too powerful to ignore. Every person in that room realized they had just witnessed a confession that could not be taken back. Your soulmate looked around calmly, as if a heavy weight had finally disappeared from their heart. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Then, with complete confidence, they revealed one more secret that nobody had expected. They admitted that they had stopped asking whether love would find them. Instead, They had started preparing themselves to become the kind of person who could protect that love when the right moment finally arrived. That single sentence changed the atmosphere completely because everyone understood this was no longer about imagination, it was about commitment. One listener quietly asked, "What gave you so much confidence after all this time?" Your soulmate smiled and answered, "Because every delay taught me something I would have never learned if everything had happened too quickly." Those words echoed through TH.